And away we go. Welcome in, everybody. It's Three Guys Before the Game, and this is our preview of the Mountaineers and the Texas Longhorns. It's episode number 405. Thank you so very much for being with us. We're in full attendance. The Senator is here. The Dean, Hoppy is here. And we're glad that you are with us. Three Guys Before the Game is brought to us by the Burdette Camping Center, the only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. We encourage you to visit them at burdettecamping.com. That's B-U-R-D-E-T-T-E camping.com. Burdettecamping.com. As I said, they're the only RV dealership in the state that gives you a warranty that lasts forever after you buy an RV from them. That's a pretty good deal. I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
It is.
They got another little something special that we're going to talk about here in a little bit that starts as we record on Thursday. A potential three-team center. Would you call it a quasi parlay?
Well, it has parlay principles, but it's not a straight parlay. It's better. It's easier to hit than a parlay would be.
Yeah. Parlay, you have to. This has to happen, and this has to happen, and then this has to happen. This is just kind of like a la carte.
Yeah, this is a la carte, but each one's cumulative as well. So it has the best principles of a parlay, but not the risk. How about that?
Okay, I might as well do it. I might as well do it. So here's the deal. Every one of these that West Virginia wins gets you $200 at Burdette Camping. So the volleyball team in action today against the TCUs. If the WVU women's team beats TCU, that's $200 in your pocket. And then tomorrow.
And real quick, it's a good bounce back spot for the volleyball team.
Yeah, after losing.
Played well early against Texas Tech, couldn't close. They're ripe to get a win there, I think.
Sure. And then tomorrow, Friday, women's soccer takes on Kansas. The WVU women beat the Jayhawks. That's $2 more. Now we're up to 4.
You could be 400 if both hit.
And then on Saturday, if the Mountaineer football team covers the spread as of kickoff, if West Virginia covers the spread, that's $2 more.
So right now, sitting 9.5. There's a 10 straggling out there. We'll keep an eye on that at kickoff.
Get hold of Nikki Izzo Brown and tell her there's a lot riding on that Kansas game.
So think about this, folks. That could equate.
That's a good promotion. I like that.
That is a really good one. I like that a ton. That could equate potentially to a 60% off deal.
Yeah.
So you have $600. You have to spend $1,000, but you spend $1,000, you get $600. As your Three Guys discounts. I hope all of that works. Three Guys is also brought to us by our good friends at Comax Business Systems. I like these guys a ton because they keep people safe. They are your full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com. Wait a second, Tony. He said in third person. They don't do home security. How do they keep you safe? Well, there's different kinds of safe nowadays. There's the safe that you want to be safe within your home, but there's also the safe when you have a business so that nefarious people don't come in and get your very, very valuable data. So they've got 24/7 remote monitoring. In addition to that, they'll manage all of your IT services, managed voice and phone services. There's so much more than just, hey, these guys sell office supplies. That's like saying that Hoppy is just an Adirondack chair maker. It would be way too limiting because everyone knows the diverse talents that Hoppy has. Talk show host, sports aficionado, commentary writer, and
I'm behind on the Adirondack chair thing. I'm way.
And a sandwich.
Orders are backing up on you. Slow delivery.
And a sandwich delivery outlet. Those are the things that Hoppy brings to the table.
Supply chain issue or labor shortage?
Labor shortage.
He can get the wood. Yeah. Comax has once again been named for the 10th time an elite dealer, the only West Virginia business to ever win that award. They won it 10 times. So check those guys out. Really good people. Comax Business Systems. The more and more, I don't know about you, but probably true as well. I'm now at a point where I'm not doing business with anyone that doesn't just make me feel good. Like if I've got to go, if like you often say, like, don't make it more difficult.
Right. Don't make it harder.
So don't make it harder. So if I've come across anything now, like that makes it harder, I'm just going like, I'm not dealing with you. Go to next.
Well, it depends on what it is, but I get it if you're looking, if you're trying to accomplish something and somebody's making it harder
Just like,
for
forget it.
you. I mean, you accept challenges. Challenges don't bother you. It's just you're trying to accomplish something. Just don't make it harder.
Don't make it harder. You have a situation here yesterday during your show?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I heard it.
And it was the same thing.
Someone was making it harder.
Yeah, like and look, I have a great job. It probably is a little harder than it sounds like, but I'm doing several things at once.
You're spinning plates.
I'm spinning plates, and there was something that happened, and I thought, I'm just don't make it harder than it is. Just give me a little bit. And I'll be okay. I'm not asking
so
for a
you
lot.
don't need him to run the ball for 250.
No.
Just do it enough to keep the defense honest, and you'll throw for the rest. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that give me a periodic run up the middle for 2 to 3 yards 4 times in the game, maybe 5, just to keep them honest. I don't need touchdowns.
Right.
I don't need first downs.
Nope.
That's all.
Just need a little help.
Why? Did you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you. Your office, I mean, my little office is above this studio upstairs, and I get scared a little bit when I hear you like that. I'm wondering. I called down to Taylor. Is he all right? Like, did he fall off of his chair or something happened? You know, he said, no, he's going to be okay.
And I was smoking yesterday. I had a good show, and I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going here.
Right.
Don't go the wrong way.
Yeah. You're like that quarterback
Brad?
when the guy's supposed to run
You
the
had a
out.
nice drive going. Somebody fumbled the snap.
Exactly.
Yeah, dropped the ball.
Yeah, missed a block.
Yeah. Okay.
But now I'm all worked up again.
Nah, you're fine. Don't worry. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through it.
What do we say, Brad?
Don't make it harder. Or give me the ball. Which one?
Both. Give me the ball. Don't you make it harder.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of just give me the ball. I'll take care of this.
Yeah,
a lot of that.
I'm not asking you
I understand.
to carry the ball.
Yeah. All right, we're jumping in West Virginia and Texas Saturday night, 6:30 in the Central Time Zone, which is good because it's going to be hot in Austin on Saturday. Temperatures expected to reach up to 86 degrees. So while we're having fall-ish starts of the days here, it is hot. And so it's great that you're not playing at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And Texas got tired last week when they took 100 snaps at Texas Tech.
Well, it was 100 snaps. I mean,
Well, I understand. I'm just saying, like, you don't want to get into any of those types of situations. It's starting to look like Quinn yours, really weird name.
Hard name to say.
Yours, right?
It's like yours, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Y. It's EWERS, but it's pronounced like YOURS. Yours. That's the best way to look at it. Quinn yours.
Quinn yours.
Yeah.
Hey, on the snaps, and I listened to the interview that you all had with the play-by-play announcer.
Craig Way.
Thank you for listening. We do appreciate it.
My
Like
pleasure.
Karen that turned it on, or was that you?
It was on the Twitter.
Oh, okay. You went back and watched it.
Yeah, I saw the part there. But the fact that 30-plus snaps
35 more snaps.
after fourth down,
Isn't that something?
yeah, that really stood out to me.
6 of 8. Texas Tech was on
6 of 8
fourth
on
down.
fourth down.
That's become a talking point on the Texas side. They're concerned about Texas' lack of ability to stop on fourth down, and then West Virginia's numbers on fourth down, which is one of the best in the country. 9 out of 10 on fourth down if you're West Virginia. So that's a talking point for their side. They seem to think that's a real concern, that West Virginia may come in hair on fire, start going for it on every fourth down.
Now that they
Seriously.
go for it all the time.
Well, you get it
You
every
have to.
time. I mean, you get it every time you go for it. You might as well just go for it.
I'll tell you this much. Old Graham Harrell, he had no problem doing that, right? I mean, that's kind of his DNA. That's what he was raised on. But Craig Way is the play-by-play guy. He watched, I may have said this on Monday's show, Joey McGuire, the head coach at Texas Tech, for years in high school. He says that's just what he does. I mean, that wasn't like he suddenly pulled that out. That's just his.
You got 4 downs, use them.
Yeah, that's just his mentality. And sometimes it'll come back and bite you in the butt, but other times, like this past week, it worked for him really well. Senator, let's jump into the analytics portion of the show. What was the greatest number you generated?
Well, I'm going to do it a different way.
Excuse me?
We're going to do it a different way.
Well, no, wait. What's wrong when you have something that works really, really well? You got to change up on us.
Yeah, change it up.
I'm nervous. Now I'm nervous. Don't make it harder. Go ahead.
Well, this isn't hard for you. Just sit there and listen. I'm going to give you the information. I've got the ball. You just stand out of the way and watch, cheer as I run up the sideline for a touchdown. So let's look at it from a couple angles, because there's 1,000 numbers that I think are applicable. There's 1,000 storylines to this game. I took a couple of them, almost like keys to the game, and then let's put some analytics behind some of these keys to the game.
Yeah, I let you build a sandwich.
You like this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's try it from this standpoint. One of the keys in this one, we've talked about it more from the Texas side, but I think it applies to both. Which team can defend the big passing play better? Which side can stop the big passing play?
Fair.
Hudson Card and Quinn Ewers are 1 and 2 in the Big 12 in terms of percentage of passing attempts over 20 yards. So we've talked about that all week with this Texas offense. It isn't necessarily one, or hasn't been to this point, that matriculates down the field and just chews up yards in a 17-play, 7-minute drive and punches it in on you. It's, you didn't do much, boom, there it goes, big play.
Right.
So they're going to throw it downfield. West Virginia's defensive backs, we know, have struggled at times in the coverage. How good can they be in that area? But JT isn't far behind those two. He's third in the Big 12 in pass attempts over 20 yards.
Okay.
Now, I think one of the contrasting styles that'll come into play here, Texas seems to, at least they did against Texas Tech, played back more and let them work underneath. Crossing routes by Texas Tech were killing Texas. They weren't going to give up the big play. So Texas Tech just chewed them up underneath. West Virginia will be fine taking all that stuff underneath. But can someone, either side, who hits the big play first or more often, I think comes out ahead. Now let's go one more step on that. West Virginia doesn't have a player in the top 12 of the Big 12 in coverage grade. These are PFF numbers now.
Mm-hmm.
Does not have a player in the top 12. And they get one at 12, Marcus Floyd, and then they don't show another until number 36 in the league in coverage grade.
Ouch.
In Rashad Ajayi. So they don't have a ton of coverage guys. Texas, conversely, has 4 guys in the top 12 of coverage grade, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Okay. So watch that. It's not so much a matchup because both teams are going to try and get it deep, but which one handles that better? That's number one. Okay? You like that,
That's
Key?
good. Yeah, that's
I
good.
thought that was super
data.
good. I thought that was super good considering the fact that they've played Alabama.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, number 2. This is a no-brainer key. This should be number 1 on the list. Can you slow down Bijan Robinson? We mentioned he leads the country in forced missed tackles. He can get out on the edge via the pass or the run. We know West Virginia struggled on that. PFF has this rating. It's called an elusive rating for running backs. It's an elusive rating.
Kind of like Hoppy out in public, elusive.
Very elusive.
Mm-hmm.
He's more reclusive, though, isn't he?
He
doesn't even get out in public.
Yeah,
this would be if he was out in public and weaving in and out of people trying to talk to him. So it combines missed tackles, yards after contact, and is an independent measure outside of your blocking. So it doesn't matter what your line does. He's really good at this, Robinson. So the number doesn't mean anything, but the gap between number 1 and 2, I want you to pay attention to here. His elusive rating is 248.8.
Wow. Okay.
Which, again, it doesn't matter what the number is. But the next closest running back in the Big 12 for an elusive rating is 121.9.
Wow. Who's that?
That'd be C.J. Donaldson.
How about that?
So there's another one. West Virginia needs to slow down Bijan Robinson, but Texas is saying the same thing. They got to find 12 because he's pretty good at that as well. So running back elusiveness is kind of area number 2 that you want to keep an eye on. Okay?
I like that too.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Here's the concern on that before I move on to the third. Here's the concern. Pro Football Focus also keeps a stat called stops, and that's a tackle that constitutes a loss for the offense. And it doesn't necessarily mean a loss behind the line of scrimmage. It could be a 3rd and 5, and a linebacker makes a tackle after a 4-yard gain. It stops the offense. Mm-hmm. So it's a loss for the offense. So it's kind of an important defensive metric there to keep an eye on. West Virginia does not have a player in the top 20 of the Big 12 in run stops and only 1 in the top 29. So I don't like that going against this running back. Texas, conversely, has 5 in the top 20. So keep an eye on that. Who does a better job handling these elite running backs that you're seeing? All right, finally, third key. This will be a good test here for the West Virginia offensive line. Texas has 2 of the top 4 guys in the Big 12 in total quarterback pressures. West Virginia, conversely, has 4 of the top 14 offensive linemen in terms of run blocking grade. 4. I mean, think about that for how much we've talked about this offensive line. Yeah. Now you have 4 individuals in the top 12 in terms of run blocking grade. That's been really good so far. Texas does not have an offensive lineman in the top 23 of this category. We've mentioned all week that they're having trouble on their line, and West Virginia's D-line has to take advantage of it. It does. So good test for West Virginia's offensive line, but the same is also true for this Texas line. If they can't handle West Virginia up front, they're in some trouble, and this will be a great test for West Virginia going against a legitimate defensive front of Texas.
It's excellent.
If West Virginia's defensive front plays where it needs to at a level that's not out of a crazy zone, then it's going to be absolutely imperative that West Virginia's linebackers have got to have the game of their season to this point, because if you can get that penetration, okay, great. But the deal is Bijan Robinson, what's he going to do? He's going to break tackles. You have got to have your best tackling night of the season.
Yeah, and that interior penetration is so critical to stop that outside stretch that Texas wants to run. If Jordan Jefferson Stills can get upfield and disrupt that and push him out, then maybe you get a contact on him, body on him, and let those linebackers move up. But that's going to be a real challenge, no question.
Those are all really.
Right, so there's 3 keys and some numbers for you.
Those are nice texture. We have a question from the far side. Go ahead, sir.
I have some numbers, too.
Excuse me?
I have some numbers, too.
Oh, this will be good.
They're not as good as Brad's.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Because I researched these numbers yesterday, and I don't know what they mean. And maybe they don't mean anything.
We'll try to help.
But it kind of builds on Brad. Okay, Bijan Robinson. Obviously, he's a concern. Averages 6 yards a carry, has 7 touchdowns. But you know what happens when number 5 goes out? Number 2 comes in.
Roschon Johnson.
Roschon Johnson is 6'2", 222.
Quarterback.
And averages 5 yards a carry.
Yeah. He's a dude.
He's a dude. So those guys, and together, Robinson and Johnson together have 16 catches. So collectively, they're the second leading receiver on that team. Brad, right. What you talked about, what do you worry about? What do you worry about?
That almost, I may eat my words here if Bijan Robinson goes nuts and on the ground. That almost scares me more than the running part of it, right? You get pressure up the middle. You're pressuring either of those quarterbacks, and you're coming so hard. Well, what's the antidote? What's the
dump?
Yeah, you dump it right off, and there you go around the outside. That part of it really scares me, the ability of those running backs to catch the ball.
And they got a tight end. We always struggle with tight ends, right? Sanders has 15 catches.
Jatavius Sanders.
I
believe he wears number 0, which is coming more and more into the form.
Yeah, and you got to be awesome to wear 0. And then I looked at these rush numbers because I think that West Virginia's ability to run the ball and Neil Brown, I mean, some of this, and Brad, you talked about the big play, but I think some of it too is old-fashioned football. Can you stop the run and can you run the ball? And West Virginia's been able to run the ball. So West Virginia averaged 5.8 yards per carry against Pitt, 3.8 yards per carry against Kansas, 4.7 yards against Virginia Tech. So you're averaging 4.5 yards per carry and 185 yards. I didn't put Towson in there. Texas is 63rd against the run in the country, giving up 3.5 yards per carry and 135 yards per game. So I think an advantage for West Virginia, can you run for 185? And can you run for 4.5 yards a carry? I mean, I think if you can do that.
I think you're right there if you do that.
Yeah.
That might be asking a lot.
You think so?
That might be asking. It just feels, this is not analytical. It just feels every time you play Texas, they've got those big dudes right in the middle, and it's hard to move them, right? Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't care what year it is. It's hard to move those guys off.
Same body every year.
Yeah. This feels like you're going to have to throw it a little bit more. You have to run it enough to keep them honest, as we know. I think you're going to have to throw it a little bit here. Maybe more than you have to this point.
Yeah.
So what can you get on the ground? Can you get 150? 160?
I think you're in good shape if you do that.
Okay.
I think you're in good shape if you do that. Now think about what we're saying from where this team was a year ago. We were like, can we get 80? Can we get 80? Can we get 90?
But Brad just said, I mean, those offensive linemen 4 to 5 are grading out very high on run.
I understand. And
if
pass
you can,
pro as well.
You know, and they can't just, and Texas can't, because of Daniels, they can't just sell out to stop the run.
You know, the formula is there. I don't know if West Virginia will pull this off. It's played well in Austin. The formula is there against this Texas team if you just get a stop or two and limit those big plays.
Yeah.
You know, West Virginia's offense is controlling the ball 55% of the time in game, which I know is a stat nobody uses anymore, is time of possession.
Right.
But that's one way to get Texas, right? I mean, Texas Tech did that with all those fourth down conversions. 100 plays to 60. They possess the ball. Now you put more pressure on that Texas offense to have to hit a big play. So if you can stay close, possess the ball, put some points on the board, and make them start to get tight late, I think that's your formula here.
You know, another thing Texas does, and this worries you a little bit because Kansas, what was the stat, Tony, where they were only in the same formation?
Like four times same formation.
So there was such confusion on the back end for West Virginia is that Texas, you know, Sarkisian, offensive guy, gives you a lot of different looks. I mean, sometimes they're empty. Sometimes they got one guy back there. Sometimes they got two. And I saw a formation against Texas Tech. It looked like old-time football. They had a fullback. They had somebody, well, whoever it was, they had somebody behind the quarterback and two halfbacks, two tailbacks.
Fully, like some people call diamond, fully loaded shot.
Like fully loaded, and ran a wheel route out of that.
Yeah, those wheel routes have been good for them.
I mean, it's just like
But,
so.
but here's the flip side to that, and you're 100% right with all those formations. But the criticism internally on Texas is more simplistic. It's give Robinson the ball more. Why aren't you giving Robinson the ball more late? You've blown all these double-digit leads under Sark. Stop with all that stuff. Just give it to Robinson. Why is he not getting the ball more? So all of that stuff is true, but there's those around that program that feel that Robinson's not getting enough touches late when they have the game in hand and when it's being decided. Which is kind of an interesting dichotomy.
Well, it is, and I think it's a great point. You got an NFL running back. You got a guy who's difficult to stop. You got a guy at the 5-yard line. He's going to run it in the end zone. Yeah. So ride that. Ride that until they stop that.
But you'd rather they not figure that out this week. Like, don't do that this week.
Rather try to do something fancy and screw it up.
One of the intangibles going into this game is, like, what's the mental mindset of Texas? So a couple of things. They've been hearing it all week after the loss at Texas Tech, which was unexpected. They have also been hearing that they cannot hold a second-half lead.
Or double-digit lead.
Or a double-digit lead in the second half. So how does that impact them? Does that become fuel to their fire and will show you? Or is the seed in their head that, oh, here we go again? That's what you don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. Hoppy and I are opposite sides of this. I was asking, I said I would have preferred, I think, Texas to have won last week so that it wouldn't be hearing all that negative. So it would come in with a great look-ahead spot if you were West Virginia, Oklahoma on the horizon. I wanted Texas in here with one eye that way.
Yep.
I don't think you get that. I think you get a focused Texas team, a pissed-off Texas team about the criticism. I noticed earlier on Twitter, Jeff Howe, who is no relation, but with Horns 24/7, is reporting that the players just had a players-only meeting.
Oh, the old
the
players
dreaded
only.
Players-only
Oh, the old
meeting.
players only.
So I think you get a focused and an engaged Texas team. You were kind of hoping that it had rattled the confidence a little bit and they weren't sure what they had, which I hope you're right on that. I hope it goes that way.
Well, guys, you're right about the storyline because Sarkisian said this week, and they have self-inflicted wounds, and this is not up to expectations, et cetera, all that kind of stuff. It's on all of us. We take responsibility. I like players-only meetings for the opponent because that tells me that they got some issue. You know, maybe like we're having a meeting where you're purposely tuning out the coaches. Oh, good. Have more of those. Have one every day.
So that strengthens your side of that?
That strengthens my side.
Okay, fair enough.
So where's your pendulum clicking on this thing?
Oddsmakers don't like
10
it.
seems like a lot of points. Hard to go in places and win, although you have here in Austin.
4-2.
It feels like you're going to have to score some points to win. Okay, I think this offense can score some points when needed. I think you need to throw the ball to win. Okay, you feel pretty good about throwing the football. I think there's a lot of things that line up in West Virginia's favor, and Texas just simply hasn't clicked yet. Now, maybe this is the week they figure it out and click, but they have not yet. Their most difficult opponents they've lost to. Now, one was the number one team in the country, which they were clearly up for. If you somehow get that version of Texas, you're in some trouble.
Yeah.
And they're going to cover that spread and run away with it. They were really good against Alabama, but also easier to get up for Alabama and play in that one, right? So they're two opponents that are difficult they've lost to. So I think you got a legitimate shot here. Seems like a lot of points.
Where are you leaning over there?
I kind of lean West Virginia.
Uh-oh.
I mean, I don't see this. The 10-point surprise. I think that's high. That feels high to me. I mean, I know the odds makers, they put it there for a reason. They know a lot more than I do. It just kind of feels high to me. Oklahoma next week. I mean, my gosh, they hear about Oklahoma all the time. I cannot think. I wouldn't think you're going to get their best performance.
Worthy and Ewers being back are a concern. I don't know that flips me all the way back to Texas, but if those two are playing and fine and healthy, that's obviously an issue. Those are two pretty talented playmakers there that you'd prefer if you're West Virginia to have out for another week.
I like West Virginia's mental, what my perception of is where they are offensively, mentally at this point, having played at Pitt, having played at Tech, feeling good about themselves. I think they're just kind of like, let's go. We're having fun. Let's play offense. Now, defensively has not had its coming of age moment. They have to have that coming of age moment, that time where you define yourself. I don't think they've had that yet. This could be it. I'm not saying it would be easy to do, but if you can go in here and just ball out, then I think this will play huge dividends going forward. I don't know if they're ready yet to have that moment, but that's what it's going to take.
It's a good point. I think this is the biggest test for this defense because Pitt played right into your hands for 3/4 of that game by just trying to run right at you. They finally figured it out. Tech just didn't have the offensive talent to do it. So the best, most creative offense you faced just went up and down on you. You provided no resistance.
Right.
I don't know that Texas – I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't know that Texas is in Kansas's category
Excuse me?
offensively.
What did you say?
I'm not sure Texas is in Kansas' category offensively. But
Can we save that, Taylor? Can you get that saved? The guy that, I mean,
What
for as much.
an unbelievable statement. But I think they certainly look more like that from a schematic standpoint with multiple formations, the ability to get outside. They certainly have much more talented playmakers, especially if Worthy and Ewers are in, to go with Robinson and Johnson in the backfield. The playmakers are certainly more than any other team West Virginia's faced. So that's the concern, is that those guys, what do we always say? Guys making plays. Yeah. So they have more guys that can make plays than anybody on any roster that West Virginia's faced.
Agreed.
Fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, Hoppy, we appreciate you bringing numbers to the party.
Well,
Did a nice job there.
Again, I don't know what they mean.
Senator debuting a new system I thought that was good for you. I mean, constantly what we're doing, right? We're always changing up. We're trying to keep.
I think we're always
we're evolving. We're evolving.
Always looking for improvement.
Sure.
Even though we're still kind of the same, but we're changing.
What we do is we just change our look. We run the same plays. We just change our look.
It's a change of formation, same play.
We just change formation, run the same play. We had some breaking news since the last time we got together in regards to the program.
We did?
What?
Yes, you know. You guys know. It
didn't come up at the
because we didn't have a pre-show
meeting.
I'll share. If by some chance you're a first-time listener, the name of this tune is Textual Healing. Brought in basketball season, I think, last year when we were having some struggles and people needed some healing. So we brought in Textual Healing. It may sound similar to a song from Motown fame.
Marvin Gaye.
Boy, more and more people are asking me about David Saab, the producer of this song. Has he just gone away like Brian Wilson did on the Beach Boys that time? just gone.
That was Brian Wilson.
Brian just hit the road for a while.
Actually, it was just the opposite. He didn't hit the road. He wouldn't hold up in his house.
Yeah, he
wouldn't leave the house.
All right. Beautiful. So here's the breaking news. We're happy to report that we have begun, through a non-disclosure agreement, a conversation with a pair of entities that would like to join with us to create a Hoppy Kercheval craft beer. And it will be legitimate. It's not a guy in his basement.
It's not Billy Beer.
It's not a guy in his basement, and we are going to have a conversation with these folks, and they are excited, and they want to do not just like one Hoppy IPA. They want to do a complete line, and it's coming, folks. There it is. I mean, that is a, what would you call it, a template of what it could be. That one's known as Kirchhoff, which is just
Kirchhoff, I think, works.
It's awesome. But anyway, so we're in. So we're happy with that.
Is that me or is that Larry King?
Morgantown.
Hello.
Yeah, it does look like Larry a little bit. Ready to do some texts? So we're really happy about that, but they're waiting for the guy to come out of the hills. He's in like doing some hiking trip, so we're waiting for that to end, and then we're going to go.
He's what?
He's hiking somewhere.
Huh.
So.
Okay.
Do we have like when it happens, like we'll have a ale here and.
Well, yeah, there's already plans as to having a public dropping of the ale. You'll have to be there. We can't bring a cardboard cutout of you and put it next to the bar. You're going to be there.
Remember the late drummer for Rush, Neil Peart, never met the public. Wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Texter, Tony Brad Hoppy. Hello, it's Glenn here in Chicago, sitting here on a sunny Monday autumn afternoon, enjoying another great episode of Three Guys Before the Game and enjoying some Parmigiano Reggiano and Vernaccia di San Gimignano. My wife and I love, some guy ripped me last night because I said this name of this sauce wrong. I guess it's called Rayo's Bolognese. Now, Brad,
I was just going to ask you. I get confused on bolognese. Is there meat included in the bolognese?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there is meat.
So if I were at a restaurant and I ordered bolognese sauce, I wouldn't have to get a side of meatballs, or I would?
You would not need the meatballs. However, some people, when they order, refuse, and they try to order meatballs with bolognese, and the waiter said, no, I'm not bringing you the meatballs. The meat's in the bolognese.
So you don't need the meatballs.
Right.
But if it's not bolognese sauce, just red sauce, then you get the meatballs.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they say Rayo's Bolognese. We call it our version of crack. We like it on rigatoni, but we'll occasionally make a Bolognese lasagna with it using a bechamel sauce from Milk Street Kitchen. I love the show. Many West Virginia alum and fans here in the Windy City at your service. Thank you. I am an advocate of going down there to Clarksburg, getting on that airplane that goes over there to Chicago, and just spend a food weekend.
It's the best. I'm in.
You just do a Friday night, you pound. Saturday, you get a great lunch, pound. Saturday night, you go to dinner. Sunday, you go home.
Have you done that flight?
Yes.
Yeah, I have too.
It's awesome.
It's
Have you?
nice.
Yeah,
I
I did.
It's really easy.
Parksburg, Chicago?
It's great.
Yeah.
It was great.
It's awesome. Went and
Should
watched.
be doing it more. Did it once.
Went and watched.
Really?
I watched Hamilton there in Chicago. Had a great food weekend. If you'd ever leave your house, you'd probably know these things. Texter, hey, three guys, I forgot
to a shot right there.
I know.
Forgot to send this text for Monday. I'm following up on Virginia Tech's interest. Could the senator talk about, this is good. Could the senator talk about his past role if there was any interest or pushback on making an updated signature entrance for football?
Good question.
Brad, were you involved in these meetings?
Yeah.
You were.
Part of why I'm sitting here. Got tired of sitting in those meetings.
That was it?
Yeah.
One of the things that led you out of the business.
Yeah.
Drove you crazy?
Always discussions on in-game entertainment.
What was the one idea that got
People
rejected?
were mad. Coaches were mad. Other administrators were mad.
Coaches'
Everybody
wives.
mad. Nobody likes it.
Coaches' wives wouldn't get involved, would they?
Yeah, that was good. I liked it when that happened. That worked.
Okay.
Probably have better ideas than
But
coaches.
you know what people, I know that came up a bunch because Virginia Tech's entrance is so good, which it is. It's one of the best. You know what people forget in these discussions, though? This happens a lot. When people complain about what you don't have, be it the kind of music you play, the videos you have, you know what West Virginia fans seem to always forget? You know how many schools would love to have a country roads at the end of the game tradition?
Absolutely.
That's the part. I mean, you can't have everything. Like it's just,
right.
and you sometimes can't force traditions, right? There's a reason they're a tradition. Now, country roads was kind of a forced tradition at the end. That started as a way to keep fans in the stands. Remember, there was all the behavior problems, people rushing the field. Well, one of the ideas that was born out of that discussion was country roads after games, kind of keep people there. Everybody stays in the stands and sings. And that's awesome. I mean, that's right at the top 1 or 2 post-game traditions in college football.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes you gotta remember that West Virginia has one of the very best traditions going when it comes to in-game or post-game entertainment.
But you will confirm that gave you headaches in your job.
Yeah, and here's why.
You guys, you didn't have to deal with cheerleading and things like that too, did you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did that give you headaches?
Yeah. Here's why. Here's why that stuff is all difficult. Here, you ready? Here's why it's all difficult.
Yeah.
Because so much of it's centered around music. How subjective is music?
Can't please everyone.
That's why there's so many different formats of radio stations are now on satellite, however, podcasts, whatever you want to listen to music, Spotify, right? So you're putting 60,000 people into one spot and playing a few songs. Oh, you think people are upset about the songs you're playing? Of course they are. They're always upset.
Sure.
And you've also got, think of the demographics you have there.
Mm-hmm.
Everything from a little kid up to an 80-plus senior citizen. So how are you ever going to get the music into a spot where everybody can agree with it? It's one of the most difficult things in game management to try and get right.
Hey, man, Ricky Nelson said it. You can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Brad, that is a great point, and I'm sure that because when it happens, you're just a fan and you're just taking it in. You're not thinking of everything that goes into trying to make that happen. And then you hear a song like, why are they playing that song?
You know what's amazing? This isn't just a college thing. Had a guy that used to work for me that spent some time with an NBA franchise. And he said early on in his meeting, got called in because the players were bummed out at the pregame music that was being played.
Absolutely.
And he had to say, I've got 10-year-olds sitting here. The music you guys want me to play, I can't play for the 10-year-olds in the crowd. So there was a constant disconnect.
So you feel better about yourself that you're out of these meetings?
Oh, yeah, infinitely. I don't want to be a part of the meetings.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Here's a text from your home state of
No
Iowa.
more meetings.
Here's a text from your home state of Iowa. This is Evan. Hope you're well. I wanted to thank you for your comment on Friday evening on the other show the two of you frequent. Brad, after a couple of texts came in on Virginia Tech, you asked rhetorically if West Virginia had lost the game. Why is it that so much of our fan base seems perpetually negative and unable to enjoy things? I know the pain of being a Mountaineer fan, as I've been one for over 40 years. But why so negative? Scopes and spreads. Is it just fans being fans or subs? As the native and premier journalist in North America, is there something in the fabric of West Virginians that makes them miserable, that brings them comfort? Making them miserable makes them comfortable. Hoppy, what do you think?
Well, I've never been any place else. I mean, I've been to other stadiums, obviously, but I think fans are pretty similar across the country, and that is you have high expectations, you're easily disappointed, maybe you're living vicariously through your team, you get vested financially and emotionally, so you get let down, and it's hard for a lot of folks just to go, well, I really had a good time and it was fun, and I wish the young men the best next time. I mean, it's hard to do that, but I tell you what, I think you have a lot more happiness in your life if you keep it in context, but for a lot of folks, it's not, they're so deeply invested, it's not easy for them to do. So it's fandom everywhere,
yeah,
and we have short attention spans, So
I agree with you, Evan. I would say that for the most part, it's getting worse across the country than it ever has been before, and I think that's for various reasons. I think everyone is pissed off in the country more than I've ever seen in my life, and that's all a result of a bunch of different things.
See what's happening in NFL games?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. So I think it's more, but I think obviously in West Virginia it means a lot more than it does in some places, and so it's more amplified. And it always has meant more, right? I mean, like Bobby Bowden was hung in effigy. It's the DNA gene pool just continuing into the next generation.
Yeah, and some of it is, social media has amplified it as well.
Absolutely. Philip in Tampa. In a previous episode, you talked about one-hit wonders, and even though he wasn't a one-hitter, I've been thinking, what in the world ever happened to Rhyming Ryan? Ryan, if you're out there, West Virginia could use all the good juju we can muster. Anyways, thanks for the episodes. As always, horns down forever. Yeah, Ryan did.
That's a good point.
He did disappear. Texter, what's the over-under on the number of cuss words JT Daniels says in the Texas postgame interview? As of today, he's averaging 1.33 per postgame.
Brad, what's the number? 1.5.
That's a good number. That's a good number right there.
One. Wait, but how do you do a third? So it's
You
gotta-
got to go 1.5.
I'd probably go 1.
Like 1.
Yeah, I'd force you to make a decision on 0 or over.
No, I'd go over. On 1, you got to go over.
We'll keep going. I don't consider you a sharp. I'd wait till a sharp play came in on that, and then move the number.
I'd say 1.5. I'd go under 1.5. I think he's good for 1. One an interview.
That's why. So if it's 1, what would you? If that's why I just said. That's why.
If it's
he just
one,
made my case
explain
for it.
that to me.
That's
then.
why I would put the number at 1. I wouldn't put a hook on there. I'd put the number at 1, and you're choosing between 2 or 0. You think the number's 1. I know you do. That's why I put the number at 1. So what are you going to do?
How do I bet that?
However you want to bet
Now,
it.
how do I bet it? You know, I think it's going to be 1. How would I bet that?
You don't bet. You stay away, right? Brad, you stay away.
Over or under 1.
I'm staying away.
You could take the over and get a push if he does 1. You like the over, so you would take the over on it and push. You just get your money back if it's 1,
Yeah.
and you'd win if it's 2.
Are there certain words that?
But you just made my point for you. That's why 1's the number.
Yeah, 1 is the number. On our last episode.
If he dropped a really bad word, would that count more? So just a. Okay. Your little girls ever say a bad word?
No, they've been pretty good.
Okay. You guys are probably clean as a board of health around the house, right?
Try to be.
He doesn't.
Yeah.
He doesn't much. You don't much. That I know. Hoppy, you're unbelievable.
What? Excuse me?
Unbelievably clean. You never say any bad words.
No, I try. I mean, I try to behave.
I will give you one. Can I give you one story? Come clean on one story.
Okay.
Because I still think this is funny. My oldest, who's about to be 12 here in a couple of days, it was shortly, she had to be less than 2, but was talking. We had her at Chick-fil-A early on, and she would eat Chick-fil-A, so we go to Chick-fil-A. And we're standing in there, and there's not many people in there, but one person walked in that was the doctor that delivered her.
Oh.
Which was kind of fun. He hadn't
really
seen her,
nice.
hadn't been.
Great.
I can deliver. Here she is. Nice to meet you. Good to see everybody. So he sits down just a couple booths over. And my daughter was mad about something, the amount of ketchup or something. And there was just an outburst. She gave it a, damn it! I mean, and she was little, which of course I immediately blamed on her mother. I'm sure she got it from her mother, not me. And the doctor kind of looked at her and thought, well, that's good. Hi, it's good to see you. Thanks for delivering her. She's 2. We got her saying damn it already. There you go. I mean, it was loud too.
That could have been worse. Could have been worse.
It's a lot funnier now than it was
No,
at the
that's-
time. I didn't find that funny at the time.
Yeah.
Now we chortle about it.
Yeah,
On our
that's
last episode, we
Good
detailed
usage by my daughter. She used it.
It was, yeah.
Go
we
ahead.
detailed the episode on our last episode. We detailed the upcoming train trip. We have a dedicated Three Guys listener who's making his way to Austin after taking off from Pennsylvania, Connellsville, Tuesday night. Greetings from the Metropolitan Club in Chicago's Union Station. The first leg of the trip went fine. Here are some pictures. Well, there he is, Hop. Outside of the Sears Tower behind me. So there's the Sears Tower.
Excellent.
Inside the Great Hall of Union Station. So inside the Great Hall of well, that's actually pizza, Taylor.
There we go. Oh, hey,
Well, no,
what are we
that's
doing?
a view from the train as we approach Chicago this morning. You go ahead, Taylor. You hit him, and then you just go ahead, Taylor, and I'll find him.
Look at that, Hoppy.
What is
My
that?
personal pan spinach
Giordano's.
pizza, which doesn't take as long to cook. It was delicious. That's Giordano's, which is the Chicago style
famous?
pizza.
And so that's the one.
Oh,
Hop,
that's
where-
it. That's
that
the
when they
place.
pick that first piece up with the little
Yeah.
spatula thing pulled up,
Yeah.
that cheese string is
Oh,
like
yeah.
You've got a
3
good.
feet high.
Anything else, Taylor? Any other pictures?
good
That's
pizza.
it. And there is.
I normally prefer thin, but that's really good.
That was their view from their window as they approached Chicago this morning. So now they're heading. I mean, they're supposed to get there tonight, right? That was, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
It's taken a long time now. It's
Well,
taken
you're
a while.
Hoppy. They're having fun.
Well, they're good. I mean, that's
Thanks for mentioning our trek on the pod. Go Mountaineers from David.
We're heavy in Chicago in today's podcast.
We're big in Midwest. Texter, gentlemen, a little observation as a lifelong Mountaineer fan and native of southern West Virginia. Our two biggest rivals, Pitt rival on the field, VPI rival in the stands. I claim vitriol on both teams, and when they play each other, I cheer for rain.
nice VPI.
Wow. Texter, scopes, spreads, and subs. This is P2 Brian again from Williamstown. Looking ahead to Texas, one of the keys, I think, will be huge is making in-game adjustments. We did not do well with that against Kansas, but I thought after the lone touchdown drive against VPI, and especially in the second half, the boys shut down those Gobblers. What do you think will be the keys of the game this week? Will West Virginia be able to win twice in a row? Thanks. Let's go Mountaineers. I think we hit those, right?
Yep.
We talked about what the keys are. Texter, get another picture right here. Kyle from Morgantown. For the food part of the show, I am 33 years of age. There he is on screen. And I'm a type 1 diabetic. And at my height and weight, 5'8", 175, in shape, picture attached, I am supposed to eat only around 180 carbs a day. But I crush anywhere between 450 and 550 carbs per day. I will be in Texas. Look forward to some great barbecue and a Heinz family get-together. Let's go Mountaineers.
It's a lot of carbs for a type 1, but
be careful.
He's
there,
on
Kyle.
medication. Yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah.
It's from medical advice, free medical advice.
Thank you, Hoppy.
Yeah.
Thank you. When you were growing up, did they say, when someone had diabetes, would they say he's got the sugar?
Got the sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Texter, greetings, gentlemen. Jay from Richmond, Virginia. I'm normally a very sound sleeper, but was awoken last night with thoughts of wondering how our young stud tight end running back stacks up against other great running backs in West Virginia history. Doing some research. You can see what I found below. There you go, guys. On screen, please. Through the first 4 games of their career, I believe the other 4 are Hall of Famers, and C.J. Donaldson ranks out of the 5. So you can see Steve Slayton, Amos Zaraway, C.J., Avon Coburn, and Noel Devine, and what they did after their first 4 games. And that is encouraging that among that group, C.J., as far as yards go, is 3rd. Average per carry would be 3rd. Touchdowns would be right there with the other guys, 6 each for Stevie, Amos, Donaldson. Each have 3, each have 6. So
that's
It's
a pretty good
start.
company.
Yeah, it's a good start.
Yeah, but
I like this podcast and the text message part of this becoming very multimedia.
it
Absolutely.
is. I think it might be the next dimension as we make our move to Web 3.
I don't think many podcasts are doing that, are they? I mean, it's one thing to have a video podcast. It's another to incorporate pictures and slides.
Yeah, you're
Can't be many
correct. It's
doing
not. It's
Also
not.
people's vacations.
This is a little
bit.
Spreadsheets.
This is a little bit ahead of the schedule as far as
Food.
podcasting.
Yeah.
We started off on third base when we brought the thing into a studio. Most people don't have that. And so we've been very fortunate to have really super good equipment and the video set up from the beginning. For that, we thank Dale Miller, who building's named after because it was his idea to say, do it this way. Texter, hello, 3 guys. I'm starting off by saying you need to take it easy on Hoppy. One time I ran into Hoppy in public, and he couldn't have been nicer or more sociable. Wait, that was a dream, so never mind. I think I have an idea for your next song.
I didn't read that far. I thought at first I was going to get.
Make it exit.
Thought you were getting some props there.
I thought I was.
Yeah, good luck there, Hop. Make it Exit Sandman, the original song, with this, the last verse. Hush, little Hokies, don't say a word, and never mind that noise you heard. It's just the ears under your bed, in your closet, and in your head, at least until they decide to schedule another game with the world champion Mountaineers, Adam from Shady Spring. He joinked you pretty good there. Thank you.
Yeah, got me good. They have Syracuse this week. Is that? I thought I was thinking that.
Why do I want
No, they have North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Then they got like Miami, and then they got North Carolina State. It's rough.
North Carolina State is Clemson.
They got a rough patch.
At Clemson. Brad, anybody got any interest in that game?
Not yet.
Okay.
Looking.
Texter,
Efforting?
Tony spreads Hoppy. Do you all share my sadness that the Texas game is going away? Of all the Texas Big 12 teams, it feels like Texas is the biggest rivalry. I'm sure UT doesn't share that sentiment, but this series has been evenly matched and had some of the greatest conference games I can remember. Will Greer's dime to the back of the end zone. By the way, after hearing Tony tell of the Peach Bowl story as I was driving home from Charleston, I immediately paused the podcast and called our boy Jeff Campbell to verify what I said. He confirmed that he was the most angry human being in history upon seeing that his Pittsburgh Steelers license plate had been stolen while parked at a hotel in Beckley. I'm glad I could share a laugh at his expense.
What do you do when you steal a Steelers license plate? I mean,
Hang it up. Put it in your house.
I mean, it wasn't his license plate.
It was his license plate. It was his legal license plate.
Well, what do you... So,
you take it and you put it in your house.
Not going to put it on their car, right?
No, you put it in your dorm. You put it in your room.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. You should get one. This says Hoppy. Be good. Good. Bet you not many people have it.
It's in Bill Cower's apartment.
Stephen in Johns Island, South Carolina, longtime listener, first-time texter. I will not stand by your slander towards Zaxby's. Best-tasting tenders really knocks others like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes down a peg. You may not have had the service, but food is excellent. I think you need to give another chance, Tony. Okay, fine. On a side note, I'm very excited for Mountaineer basketball. There's nothing quite like college hoops. Who would you say is the newcomer to watch on the team this year? I'm very excited to see how Joe Toussaint performs and if he can elevate this team's exterior defense to another level.
Side note, I'd take down a couple orders of Zaxby's chicken fingers right now.
I almost brought you a bar.
I had a bar. Didn't do it.
What?
All these things about food. I get hungry during the podcast.
We got to have, we should have our podcast catered.
No.
What?
No.
Because it's not in your window?
No, it's in my window. It's in my window.
Then why?
Well, what would I do if there was food sitting right here, right now?
Eat it.
It'd be a It'd be a mess. People would get bummed out.
Come in after. It's just
Yeah,
time
that
it
might
up
be all right.
after.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
By the way, I say Trey Mitchell on a list of a bunch of guys that I want to see. 9 new guys. There's a bunch of them I want to see. I'm anxious to watch Trey Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There's mine.
He's going to have to be the guy. Steven in Johns Island, by the way, says, thanks for doing the pod. It helps me on my afternoon commute. Texter, hi, guys. I love the podcast. On our road trips, my wife asks me to play the new episodes.
No, she says, even my wife.
Oh.
As in, normally, she would hate you, but
You
even my
buy-
wife.
Well, that's fair. I mean, normally we get called idiots, but
Exactly.
You are by far my most entertaining. Oh, shit. Excuse me.
There's one. Where's
Let me find where that is. 5210. I got to go take that out. I don't do a good job reading these. For
Do you
someone.
pre-read?
Pre-read them? 10 pages. No,
lucky
I
to-
don't
he's lucky to
pre-read
get
them.
down here. Pre-read them.
Pre-read out loud, and you reduce your chance of mistakes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not going to happen.
I mean, every time after we get done with the show, I go I just read these so poorly.
You're not focused. You're thinking about. You're not focused.
I know.
And some of them are, in fairness, not everyone is crafted in the most readable way. In fairness to you.
Thank you. Let's do this one again. 3, 2, 1. I moved to State College, Pennsylvania over 24 years ago and proudly wear my WVU gear regardless of how the season goes. My wife went so far as to buy me white WVU tees so I kind of fit in when we go to Penn State games. I'm happy to say there are a lot of us up here. Anytime I'm wearing WVU clothing, some West Virginia alum stops me and says, hello, I love it. We're traveling to Austin. This will be our 3rd time. I'm hoping for a better pregame experience. My first trip, now listen to this, 2014. This put yourself in this position.
Okay.
I went with a friend. We stayed with someone he knew. About 2:30 in the morning, I wake up, severe pain. I'm passing a kidney stone.
Ooh.
I'm in a room alone, pacing feverishly. I don't want to wake my host up because that's the first time I met him. I can't call for a cab to go to the hospital because I don't know my host's address. And this is before smartphones. I had a flip phone. Finally, 6 a.m. I can't take it any longer. I wake my friend. He wakes our host. They take me to the emergency room. Long story short, they give me an IV, some meds, send me home. I go to bed, wake up around 10:30 in the morning. Pain gone. I jump in the shower, hop down the stairs, announce, ready to go. Needless to say, my friends were astounded. We go to the tailgate, made the game, 33-16 loss for West Virginia, but an experience I won't forget. Next trip, we missed the connection in Philadelphia due to some mechanical problems. We're up all night. Arrive in Austin a day late. Slept for a few hours, then hit the town Friday night. Met some great Texans. On game day, we're welcome to several tailgates as we walked around the stadium. Great experience, great end of the game. 2018, 42-41, who can forget the catch? We planned to go in 2020, but COVID hit. Really looking forward to this trip. My wife and I are going to go with my brother-in-law and his wife. I can't wait for the barbecue and the tequila. Tony, if you're going out for barbecue the night before, I would love to meet you. Signed, Randy. Nah, don't do that, Randy. No, that was a joke. That was a joke. Randy, I'll tell you this. I am going to eat barbecue on Friday night, but I won't be in Austin. We run into each other. We don't stay in Austin. We stay in Round Rock.
Round Rock.
Yeah, it's Round Rock.
Ben Kirchhoff grew up.
Yeah.
It would be north of Austin.
Credit Randy for going back a third time after those experiences.
Yeah. I mean,
Plus, this podcast, too, you get intimate details. Remember the time I had kidney stones?
seriously, but
Past a kidney
how
stone
about his
before the Texas
situation?
game?
You go to someone's house that you don't really know
yeah.
because you're the third party as his friend, and you're dying all night long. It's 2:30 in the morning, and you're just like crushing, but you don't want to wake anyone. Is that like the worst of all worsts, Senator?
Yeah, it's tough.
That's a bad
That's
one.
a bad draw.
It is.
Yeah.
Worst draw for the host. I don't know this guy. I got to get him to the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. Why'd you bring that dude here for?
Right now, that guy's saying, remember the time that guy came to visit us and had kidney stones? Fouled us up.
That
Never
guy
had
came
them
down the steps and wanted to go to the game. What's up? Greg in Catlettsburg. I noticed a common theme mentioned during Huggs' press conference, scoring the ball inside to open up the shooters outside. Last year, to this football season, you've talked about the need to run the ball effectively inside game to open up the passing game, throw the ball out. Just a neat observation. Hoppy, a couple episodes back, guy texts in from Wayne County, now living in Florida. It was cool to hear a national figure mention Cabway-Lingo State Forest, which is my old stomping grounds. My wife and I both grew up in southern Wayne County. She's an alum of Tulsa. I attended Wayne for a year before hitting the transfer portal, and we moved, landing across the river in Louisa, Kentucky, where I graduated from Lawrence County High, along with former WVU offensive coordinator Jared Parker. That's my West Virginia connection. Sorry for the long text. Always love the show.
Always a connection.
Hey, three guys, Isaac and Ahaya. I wanted to bring up a couple of interesting stats for that Texas game. Texas has scored 14 offensive touchdowns, but only 2 players have more than 1. Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson. All but 2 of their total 14 TDs are scored by running backs. Also, C.J. Donaldson currently right on pace, if not outpacing Bijan in rushing. Just some interesting points that make me question a 9.5 to 11-point line. I love the show.
There's a reason why Bijan Robinson has 7 touchdowns.
He good.
Bijan Robinson, and you get down near the goal line. What do you do, Brad?
Give it to him.
Chase from Houston writes, gentlemen, it's the best fan week of the year. Texas hate week. It will be glorious watching them beat those no-good tea-sippers. Then in prime time, don't forget to hit the Buc-ee's and Bastrop when you get to town, Tony. My question for you all revolves around hoops now that the schedule's out. Who is the intelligent person in the Big 12 office that made the decision to put Kansas, Baylor, and TCU all on the glorious channel known as ESPN Plus when they come to Morgantown this year? I thought with a new regime in the office, the Big 12 was done making bad decisions, but I guess we shouldn't hold our breath. Chase from Houston. Big 12 has 0 to do with which games go on regular ESPN, 2, Plus, News, you still in business? You still in business.
News isn't.
The league does not do, I think Classic's gone.
That's right.
The league does nothing. All ESPN does is say, we give you this big, large check, and this is when you're going to play that game. So that's that. And Chase, by the way, is going to be a co-host on Sportsline.
Oh, cool.
He won that in a bid at last year's Huggs' Fish Fry, or 2 years ago Huggs' Fish Fry, but hasn't redeemed it yet.
Awesome.
Saw his father-in-law popped in the broadcast booth at the Virginia Tech game. Yeah, Wayne.
Well, of course he did.
You know why? Wayne lives in Houston, but he was visiting his land in Summers County, near Hinton.
Yeah, sure. Why wouldn't he?
I said, Wayne, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We went to the farm.
Yep.
Which, to our point, everyone in West Virginia has additional parcels of land.
Except the 3 of us.
Except the 3 of us.
We have no land.
No. We don't even rent.
Well, you have land.
Yeah, I guess I do have land.
I mean, you have.
I guess I do have land. Yeah, different. I can't put a hunting camp on that.
Yeah.
You know,
you need to have land in a
have.
different county. You need to be in a different county.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. It can't be in the same county.
Right.
and
Yeah, we're going to Wetzel County.
Yeah.
I have behind my house. Actually, my lot there's a steep hill behind it, and you couldn't build on it, so it's part of our lot. And it's this teeny tiny little forest. So it's about 20 yards by 30 yards. So I guess,
Yeah, you do.
I have land.
You got land.
You own that?
Yeah. But it's just a little wooded. It's about the size of this.
Well, you should tell
same thing though. It's in same
county, so
it
it doesn't
definitely
count?
can't be your backyard.
Oh,
That doesn't count as extra land.
It has to
It's
be
your
someplace
backyard.
else.
Yeah.
You should tell
That's
Karen.
worse than him trying to claim his land.
Some Friday afternoon, Hoppy, you should
Yeah.
go to Karen. She go, "What do you want to do this weekend?" You go, "I want to go down to our property."
Let's go out the back door. Let's go to our property.
King Rob from Reston. I'm tired of all the negative fair weather bandwagon fans. Let's get behind this team. Neil Brown has a chance to be, insert Holmes' voice, yeah, pretty good. Our running back, number 12, a dude. JT may have one of the highest football IQs on the college game today. We've had the Longhorns number since joining the Big 12 for the most part. Let's give them a parting gift they will never forget. Prediction, Mountaineers 42, Texas 27.
Wow.
Daniels puts up over 300. Running backs combined for over 220. Oh, my God.
That would be nice.
We have one turnover. They have two. By the way, I mixed two IPA beers together this weekend. I instantly thought it would be Hoppy's new beer. You could put a sports trivia question on the back of each bottle, and the answer's at the bottom. And you have to look inside once it's consumed. Anyway, keep up the great work. I never miss an episode. Let's go, Mountaineers. Scope, Spreads, and Hoppy Cube, longtime listener, first-time texter. I fear, as we enter into the meat of the schedule, the euphoria of last week's win will disappear, and the Neil Brown naysayers will reemerge. Neil Brown is the right coach for the Mountaineers, period. He gets it. He's part of the community. Agreed, he needs wins, but I hope that it will come. It would be interesting to know where WVU ranks in recruiting versus how much each athletic program grosses and the NIL money spent. Just seems like Neil's getting some good recruiting classes without the benefit of a Texas-like athletic budget. Maybe Taylor County, Tyler Consolidated, Jinglehammer Smith could do some research to find some correlation, causation. Jinglehammer Smith is one of the all-time great. That ranks up there with Clown. You can go like Carl the Clown, Jinglehammer Smith.
Do you know the song?
Get your Jinglehammer Smith ass over here.
Good one.
Oh, man, you just went over the one.
He's a two.
He's
cashed
a
it
two.
over.
Cash a ticket.
I had no idea that was coming. I was like you. I didn't pre-read. That was good.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually from where he signs it, but go ahead.
No, this is not an excuse, but may put into perspective to fans who want wins. Instead of complaining, get out your checkbook to help the university get higher value players. It's just the reality we live in. Absolutely. I love the show. Signed Jason from Jasonburg.
I tell you, we're
May
having.
not be his name.
Well done, Jason. If that's your name.
These next two games are gigantic. Okay, a tough road opponent. Then you're back home. Great. You got Baylor. Ranked opponent.
Huge.
But
Thursday
welcome
night,
to the Big
next
12.
two games.
Welcome to the Big 12.
Yeah.
Just stop right there. Next
Yes,
two.
yes.
When are you not going to say that for the remaining games
I'm
of the
not.
season?
I'm not.
You're going to say
'Cause
that
then
every
after
game.
After that, you go, well, Texas Tech. Well, Texas Tech beat Texas. They look pretty. So you don't get one of those.
Every one, you will say what you just said from here on out.
You're almost like going, maybe TCU's a breather, but I don't know. So you don't have any. You don't have any.
Ain't no breathers. It really
There's
is.
just
Seriously,
not.
there
There's
isn't.
just truly not.
There really isn't. Okay, down to our last three. Would be lit if you guys could get JT Daniels or Neil Brown before Tony up and quits the show, because things have yet to change. I'm sure it would have to be in the summer, so hang in there for a little longer there, Tony. I also can't figure out if West Virginia ever meets Virginia Tech in a bowl game. Is the Black Diamond Trophy up for grabs? I've enjoyed Three Guys, Sportline, and even Hoppy's Morning Mania for years now. Stay safe. I can't wait for 400 more. Austin in Buchanan.
What would be the rule there? Anytime you play them, I would think the Black Diamond
No.
Trophy. No?
No, if it's a bowl game, you don't bring it out.
You don't?
No.
Mm.
What do you think, Senator? When West Virginia played Syracuse for the
I was
Schwartzwalder,
just going to say, didn't we go through this with something recently?
yeah, they didn't do it, did they? Did they bring
Who
that?
had it? Syracuse? And they just
Sure,
refused.
they did. I'm sure.
So I
they
think
did.
it just comes down to the home team just refusing.
You're like, no, we're
Oh,
not
you're not
bringing
the
it.
boss of me. You're not going to tell me what to do. Not putting it online.
And by the way,
Oh, no,
they
not
kept
bringing
it too, as I recall. Didn't they?
Yeah,
Was
they
that
did.
the last time?
Yeah. So Syracuse has been in 4 bowl games in the last 18 years. 2 of those have been against West Virginia. Pinstripe and then whatever that thing was in Florida. And they beat us twice. They've been in 4 bowls in 18 frickin' years.
You're going to go to one this year.
I tell you what, I watched them. Did you watch them last Friday? Center?
Yeah.
That was a bad. I mean, I ain't buying that. I Virginia or them.
Well, Virginia's not any good.
Well, I watched it. This is how bad it was. I'm watching the game and go like, this is terrible. You were on it. We text during the game. Tim was watching that too. Our boy Tim, that 3-way text that we have. I said, this is terrible. He said, I was just thinking the same thing. By the way, Austin Buchanan, great coffee country down there in Buchanan. People claim the strawberries down there. Stone Tower Brews, Buchanan, very nicely done.
Really?
Very nicely done.
Okay.
Hey, 3 guys, excited for this matchup, going into another hostile environment. Got a good one for spreads today. Over under. 89% chance this is the Mountaineers' last trip going to DKR.
I say yes. I have not,
Over, you're going over 89.
Yeah, I've not changed my opinion on that yet.
Okay. Last one. Stephen Wheeling, Tony Senator, and Eat Fresh. Called our boy Eat Fresh. Could be worse. Could have called you Jason. Anyway, I asked this last week leading up to the Tech game, and I really want your recollection of this. 2003 Virginia Tech game, when the referee got the microphone at Milan Puskar Stadium stuck and uttered, "Please turn off the noise amplification system." I've heard different stories about whether or not there was actually a noise amplification system. If you remember this, can you provide some insight on what this was all about, Stephen and Wheeling? Brad, we'll do a deposition. Mr. Howe, did you work at the university in 2003?
Yes.
What was your position at the university in 2003?
Assistant athletic director, marketing and sales.
Very good. Mr. Howe, were you in attendance at the West Virginia Tech football game in Milan Puskar Stadium in 2003?
Yes.
Mr. Howe, have you ever heard an accusation that there was noise amplification used at that game?
Yes.
Mr. Howe, reminding you that you are under oath. Was there noise amplification used in an illegal form during that game?
Mr. Creedy, my client is not going to answer
No,
that
that's
question.
okay. I'll answer the question.
Okay.
I do not recall.
Spoken like a guy whose wife's a lawyer, right there.
Spoken like a guy who's been deposed.
So, in all seriousness, what was that? That's not our deal, is it? We weren't doing that.
No, there were those. I think that was the game. There were a couple games stretching there. I think it was then. There were the big extra speakers down in the end zone to help with the volume for folks in the stadium, just try and make the in-game experience a better experience for all in attendance. This is before the upgraded speakers in the stadium. And sound was always a challenge in there because of the way it travels and people at different. So there were some extra speakers down in there.
But
Is that what it was?
In all seriousness, we were not jacking
Oh
noise.
no. And if they were, it was accidental. There was I never remember any targeted effort to have amplification to screw up their signals or anything. There were extra speakers down there, but
and
that was just for in-game entertainment.
And to be quite honest with you, the reality of it is there was no microphone down there, okay? Like we go to Texas, like they'll have a dude on a microphone down there Saturday night with speakers. Those speakers were the external PA sound. So music was coming out of those when music was being allowed.
Right.
But there is no input to bring sound up from where those guys are in that booth. Their inputs are video, the music, and things like that. So the short answer to that is yes. Now
what was going on at that time, and the years run together for me. There was a continuous chain of complaints from all over the Big East, West Virginia included. if that wasn't the very front edge of no huddle, hurry up, it was right in the early days, right? When Rich was getting that stuff going. So we complained about that a lot too. What a lot of stadiums would do would push the music up because there was no huddle. Normally the rule was stop your music when the huddle breaks and they'd go to the line. Well, there was no huddle and there was nobody going to the line. So you were always at the line. So when do you shut off your music? So that was one thing stadiums started doing, is pushing the limits of how far the music went in terms of time close to the snap. But that's the only thing, and that wasn't specific to a complaint about West Virginia. That was kind of league-wide. People were complaining, including us, to other schools.
Yeah, and I heard people say that at Pittsburgh this year that they played the music too close up to the snap to get the thing howling. So,
Tony, what about this? When you're doing the play-by-play and maybe the stadium isn't rocking or not very full, and for whatever reason the field mic or the parabs or the effects mic is picking up the PA, and the PA, you can't unhear the PA. So you're trying to, I mean, seriously.
That's the only thing you hear.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So you're doing a play-by-play and you hear, tackle by Johnson, 2nd and 5 from the 40.
That does happen.
I can't, I mean,
Remember
and it's
that?
different at different places, but you got to, how do you block that out?
I don't listen. I don't pay attention.
But you know what's, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
I have them take the mix out of my headset.
Yeah, but it's there. I mean, it's probably
I have like at Virginia Tech. I said I want no mix in my headset, which means I don't want anything.
No effects.
No effects at all. I just want Dwight, me, Jed. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
that's all I want. Because Pitt, I had the effects in my headset. Oh my gosh, my ears were ringing the next day.
It's not too sterile for you when you do that?
No, because our microphones will pick up enough.
Okay, so you are getting a little bit of it. It's not.
Oh yeah, you're getting.
It's not like you sitting in the studio right now talking. Because I think that's disconcerting when that happens.
Yeah, and Jed has his microphone open down on the sideline, so you're getting that too. Hoppy, do you remember Franklin Field when we played Temple?
Oh yeah.
And that speaker was right above us.
Yeah.
And John McKinney, the late John McKinney, our engineer. So they have this internal. Number one, Franklin Field is not designed for football games. And so we get there, and I mean, it's plywood, and we're basically outside, and West Virginia's playing Temple.
Not basically, you were outside.
We were outside.
You had a covering, but you were outside. I was outside.
Like an awning. It was a carport.
Awning.
It was a
carport. That's.
And so the general PA, we hear that as they're getting ready for the game. And then there's two kinds of PA. There's press box PA, and there's general PA. And the press box PA doesn't start until the game starts, and the guy will go like, kickoff return 6 yards. That's for the media. That's for the media. Tackle by Kirchhoff, right? So we had no idea. There was a speaker like directly above, right where I was, right where we were, right? And so there's no words coming out of it until the game actually starts. And so first play of the game, like all of a sudden, about 9,900 dB, kickoff by Trump. And we go. So we're all looking around and going like, what, where? And so it really wasn't hard to spot. It looked like a speaker, like just one of those, again, Franklin Field's ancient. And the speaker looked like a 1950 speaker, just a big horn.
Like you'd see at a political rally from the 1944.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Like, come on, it's Harry Truman. Go get him, Harry. Like one of those speakers. So like, we all look up simultaneously. Like, where the heck did that come from? So our engineer was the best ever, John McKinney, who is as salty as salt can be. Like, he just had that classic. He just kind of slowly went like a squirrel finding a nut. And he gave it that look and that kind of crinkled look. And he just slowly turned around and he went to his big toolbox. And like the game's going on, and he just kind of comes over slowly. He steps in between. He steps in between me and Coach Wallace, and he was like gets himself like his knee up onto the countertop, and like game's going on, and he's got a pair of wire cutters in his hand, and it was an old flimsy wire, like the insulation. He just like the guy's like, tackle bomb. And he snipped it. That was the same night that the Village People performed at
That's what I was just
halftime.
going to say next.
And you have one of the all-time greatest lines. They're performing like YMCA, and you said the road back. What would you remember exactly what you said?
I said, Village People performing at halftime at Franklin Field. I said, it's a long road back. I bet if you went to Franklin Field today, that wire would
I guarantee it. I guarantee
And
it.
somebody's pissed they can't figure out why it won't work.
Hey,
Exactly.
this is absolutely
The last 25 pen relays, that hasn't worked for anybody. They can't figure out why.
You talk about this. This is absolutely true story. In 84, West Virginia plays at Pitt, okay? And Jack Fleming goes into the booth and sits down. And everything was already set. Jack kind of got in there. You know, the broadcast was getting ready to start, but everything's all in place. So Jack sits down, puts his charts down, puts the whole thing down there, and there's a window sitting right there. But it's kind of a sliding window. And he said, take the window out. And Dale Miller goes, the window doesn't come out. It's one of those sliders. It's in the track. It doesn't slide out. And he goes, what are you talking about? He said, I've been coming here since 1950, whatever. He says, the window comes out. And Dale says, Jack, the window doesn't come out. He goes, take the window out. And so, you know how Dale had a wick about that big. Jack had a wick about that big. He said, Jack, the window doesn't come out. He says, take the window out. He goes, you want the window out? He goes, I want the window out. So Dale goes in there, puts both hands, gets it in the middle, goes in and starts to give it one of those wrenches. He did about 3 times, and the thing exploded. Okay. Glass all over, right? Glass all over. Like, Woody runs out of the booth. Hillgirl goes like, what the hell's going on in there? They go, the window broke. Okay. So Miller, so now Miller's got the frame. He goes, there you go, Jack, the window's out. So this is the reason for the story. I think Pitt, Bills, West Virginia, whatever. Now, every 2 years when we would go back there, I would put my finger in the track where the window is, and there was always glass. Always glass. 98. I go, last time I checked, I put it in my hand in there, and there's glass. And I always go back, 84. It was the 84 glass still in there.
Oh, that's good.
You know. Oh, boy. Yeah. I got memories of Old Pitt Stadium. You remember there was only one toilet. Do you remember that? There was one toilet on that level.
Yes.
But it wasn't like you walk in there and there's like a trough, like you could do like 4 or 5 guys. There was one toilet, which is absurd. Because at halftime, you got to, right?
Yeah.
As you know, if you don't go to halftime, you're not going. Game's on. So
that's right.
May have been a garbage can used.
Where was also at Oklahoma State? You're up and you got to go down.
Oh, Oklahoma State's weird, but they made it better now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they did make it better. But you're right. That was really weird too.
Yeah. You're on the roof and you had to go down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's not good. That's not, especially as you get older. You know, stuff happens.
Some people have to.
So, you gotta go. You gotta go. We gotta go. That was good. Brought you out of a bad mood, Senator. You started all bummed out. Start of the show, wasn't he, Hoppy? He was he was. Wasn't in a happy mood. Now we got him in a happy mood. And that's what we hope this show does for you, folks. Yeah, hope it puts you in a happy. Keep checking on the Burdette quasi parlay. What do we call? We used a word instead of a parlay. We used a ladder. It's you got a potential to win $600.
Continuum, a sequence.
Yeah, you got a chance to win $600. Starting with the WVU volleyball game Thursday night against TCU. They win that, that's $200. Women's soccer beats Kansas, that's $200. And the Mountaineer men's football, not the women's football. The Mountaineer football team, if they cover against Texas, that's another $200. You got potential for $600.
Nice.
That's awesome. 3 guys before the game, brought to us by the Burdette Camping Center, only warranty forever RV dealer in all of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettecamping.com. And by Comax Business Systems, they are your full-service Konica Minolta dealer. Go to Comax Business Systems at comaxwv.com. We're back on Monday to recap it. Next week's an off week, so what a great time to go into an off week with a W. Wouldn't that be just
that'd be great.
Fantabulous. All right, we be out. 3 guys before the game, brought to us By Comax Business Systems, Burdette Camping Center, our producer, Jonathan Taylor County, Tyler Consolidated, Jingle Jammer, Jingleheimer Smith. Best line of the show. See ya.